All right, Hot Grits Podcast, episode 26. I'm Travis Jadon with Spencer Maddox. Both wearing super cool shirts today. If you're listening to this, you should be watching this on YouTube.
Cheers.
We'll also listen to it. But you'll see some crazy stuff. We got a crazy setup today, and I'm not telling you guys anything about it, so you'll just have to look on YouTube and find it. What are we talking about today?
Dude, we're talking about the NFL being back today. Neither one of us have been big football guys for like the past 3 years. We're kind of over football because it's taken up so much of our lives, and the Falcons and Dogs have let us down. But I'm super fucking hyped for football this year.
Well, I was also covering for a living two option football teams. Yeah. That'll take it right out of you.
But we've both bitched up to each other about football and how it's not as cool as it used to be. But football is back, dude. Football's back, and I'm extremely excited.
Sports are everywhere.
Yeah,
sports are all over the walls. It's everywhere. We got football. We're recording this on Thursday the 10th for Friday, September 11th.
Yeah.
Football.
So we got the preview there.
Pro football preview, yeah, and then on the back half we'll talk kind of the same shit we always do in a different manner. We'll update you guys on the Braves who scored 1 billion runs Wednesday night versus...
They were fading and then just... Oh, man.
They scored 0 runs on Tuesday against the Fish.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday, against the very same squad, they scored 29 runs thanks to Adam Duvall's 9 RBI effort.
Did you see my tweet where I said we should send the Marlins to an alternate site?
I did see that tweet. How many interactions did that get?
Dude, so many interactions.
Man. Yeah. At Spencer Maddox _
It would make you uncomfortable how many interactions I
get. NFL preview first, and we'll give you guys all 7 of our playoff teams for AFC and NFC.
Let's go.
And then there's a Georgia story that's cool too, I think. At least the University of Georgia will not have Uga on the sidelines due to coronavirus reasons.
Hilarious.
It's incredible how they get to this conclusion. We'll talk about that on the backside too. All right, let's get after. We can either start with, I'll let you choose. We can start with like questions, talking points surrounding the NFL season as a whole. And I got 4 or 5 written down. Or we can start with our rundown of the predictions.
Let's do our rundown of the predictions, starting with the AFC, if you don't mind.
All right, we'll start with AFC East because that is where the Dolphins reside. Fins up. Yeah. I'm rocking my own shirt today for the Fins. Those of you who listen to this podcast probably already know that I'm a Dolphins fan, but I like to just kind of air that out at the beginning of every season. So if you think at any point in time that your team's having a bad year or that you hate, the way your team's doing, most people listening to this, I would assume Falcons. Just imagine, it could be worse. You could be a Dolphins fan.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes always shit.
AFC East, no Tom Brady anymore. Cam Newton enters with New England. I'm still taking the Pats. And I think...
do you have just the one team coming out of the AFC East?
For the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got Pats.
But break that down for them, the expanded playoffs, because that's important before we do this.
So this year, there's 7 playoff teams in each conference, and the big difference, I think, is that the 2 seed no longer gets a bye.
Yeah.
So 4 division winners, 3 wild cards in each conference.
The 1 seed gets a bye, and that's it.
Right. And we'll remember they did that. They passed this in March. Collectively bargained, right? And Corona had already happened, but they were going to do that this regardless.
Yeah. So it has nothing to do with the
And then in the future, you'll have an extra game in the regular season. So this will be, I think, the only season where you have 14 playoff teams and only the 17 weeks of the regular season.
Yeah. Right? 16 games,
16 games.
So it'll be an 18-week regular season, 17 games.
17 games.
And no preseason.
Basically. Well, you'll have 2 buys. You'll have 2 buys in the future.
Okay.
So, but the playoffs will still be expanded.
Gotcha.
Let's do this. I'm going to name my AFC 7 teams.
Go ahead.
And then you name yours, and then we'll just talk AFC. All right. In the East, let me flip my notepad over. Pats in the East. Chiefs in the West. No duh. Steelers in the North. I fucking love the Steelers this year. Big Ben's always good, unless he's hurt.
Yeah.
And he was hurt last year. Colts in the South. I somehow picked Phillip Rivers to win a division. I'm not happy about it, but that division is shit. 3 wildcard teams in the AFC. The Ravens, Titans, Broncos. So a team from the North, a team from the South, and a team from the West at the AFC. Who you got in the AFC?
All right. So coming out of the North, I got the Ravens is winning that division, but I've got actually 3 teams coming out. I think the Browns.
You're a Browns guy this year.
Yeah, I am.
I'm Drew Lock guy.
Do you remember that people have forgotten this really quickly? Baker Mayfield set the rookie touchdown passing record. He passed Peyton Manning.
People
like,
did people forget that?
I think so, because I mean he had one down year and people are like ready to kick him to the curb.
Well, they haven't won. Last year they were on the cover of every magazine in the
world.
They
were. They got way too much hype last year, but that doesn't mean, I think people are undervaluing them this year is what I mean.
I know on paper the Browns are good, but I just won't ever believe them again. They
let you down 1 year. How many years of the?
No, I think people liked them even. I think Mayfield's rookie year was when they had Tyrod Taylor. I mean, people were talking about them then, with ODB and Jarvis Landry and all those guys. Now they. I'll say this: I
think they're better than the Colts. I think they're a better team than the Colts on paper.
I think so too. Maybe on paper, yeah.
Yeah. So I've got those 3 teams coming out of the North: Steelers, Ravens, Browns. In the South, I've got Titans coming out. Derrick Henry's a monster. That team was really good last year.
What they did last year was pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean that pick kind of scares me. It feels like they could fall off pretty easily, especially like with your run game being your main thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it seems like if you point to an NFL team and you don't start with their quarterback, it's not a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you think about any NFL team, you don't really want to start with their running back. I mean, like think about it. The Giants. You start with Saquon Barkley.
True.
They're probably not going to be very good.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, and you could really go across the league and do that if you don't have a court. And like Tannehill was great last year, but he's been so average. So many other years.
He's also like a new age Alex Smith. It's almost like just don't lose us the game, and that you can win 9-10 games with quarterbacks like that.
And I think
especially if you're good at everything else.
Right, and with the Texans down, the Jaguars just begging to lose.
Yeah, they won. They're trying to lose.
They are trying to lose every game for Trevor Lawrence. I think
the Colts
that division is the worst in football. I don't even know that that's up for debate.
So that's what I mean. That division's up for grabs.
Yeah, and then the Texans are just depending on Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks.
Yeah,
that's what the Texans are running out there because Bill O'Brien got a bag of footballs for DeAndre Hopkins.
So dumb.
All right.
I mean, they have the best quarterback in that division, I would think, right?
The Texans?
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, Phil Rivers.
I put like
Gardner Minshew, good mustache.
Great flow.
Other than that.
I put very little stock in that Colts team, though. That scares me. So I picked the Titans coming out there. There's literally no doubt in my mind that New England wins that division. Maybe someone gets hurt. Maybe Cam Newton gets hurt and they fuck up, but I don't see that happening. And then I got Raiders and, of course, Kansas City coming out of the West.
The Pats.
I really like the Raiders this year.
You really like the Raiders this year?
Mm-hmm.
John Gruden and the kids. So I think like you're a dark horse AFC, not to contend, but playoff dark horse Raiders
and Browns
that qualifies. And I think the only really surprise I have, I mean, I picked the Steelers to win the division over the Ravens. That's somewhat of a surprise. And Colts obviously is.
Yeah.
I really like Jonathan Taylor, that rookie back from Wisconsin. Do you want to pick?
That 7th spot is hard to pick, especially in the South.
It's fun though. It's cool having that extra spot to play with, especially doing predictions and stuff it's going to be cool to see the expanded playoff and how it works out. Just like in baseball, teams that used to be out of it at 8-8.
Yeah.
Shit, maybe even 7-9, 9-7. I would think almost certainly gets in the discussion all year.
Let me ask you this: what would surprise you more, the Browns making the playoffs or 2 teams coming out of the AFC South?
No, I think the Browns making the playoffs would surprise me more.
Really?
Look, you have to play the Ravens twice.
It's a really hard division.
I am obviously really high on the Steelers. You got to play the Steelers twice. That's 4 games. Like, I think 2-2 would be awesome for the Browns in those 4.
Yeah.
And then you got to work from there. I mean, I don't know if they go 1-3 in those games. That's not.
They just got. They're the Falcons of the fucking AFC.
I love the Falcons. Who do you have coming out of the AFC? Like, this should be pretty easy. I feel like it's Chiefs and Ravens versus.
I mean, it's hard not to. That's if you would pick those as your tier one. Like you said, there's in my mind, I do this the same way as I do in basketball. You would have the Chiefs and the Ravens in tier one, and then coming down the line, New England is in that next tier.
AFC only?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then probably the Steelers right after them. I would give but I like Kansas City over the Ravens.
I picked the Ravens just because I didn't want to pick Kansas City.
Because it's such a boring pick.
I will say this, just like we just said, though, the Chiefs and Ravens are a perfect example of what this league is now, which is you better have a quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Because if Lamar Jackson goes down or Patrick Mahomes goes down, I'm out on both of those teams and potentially even making the playoffs. Like all this talk out of Kansas City about how great they are and how great of a dynasty they're going to be. Like you won one.
They're one injury away, and
you
also
won one Super Bowl. That's it.
Whenever you have a running quarterback like that, where your offense is built around that dynamic, you can't even plug and play. Like you can't do what they did with the Eagles, where Nick Foles stepped in and made this heroic run. That would never happen with either one of those teams. You can't find somebody to substitute in for Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes.
And both offenses obviously built completely
around them.
Those two players. All right, let's move on to the NFC.
The best player on the field.
We'll do the same thing. So Spencer has the Chiefs. I got the Ravens at the AFC. In the NFC, I got Cowboys winning the East, Niners in the West, Packers in the North, Saints in the South, Falcons, Bucks, Seahawks as my wildcard teams.
Falcons, Bucks, Seahawks. I've got
as the NFC wildcard teams.
Yeah, I didn't write it down like that. I got them on division winners, and then I guess I'll go from there.
Shame on you.
Yeah. So I've got Green Bay coming out of the North, just one team out of there. Out of the South, it's gonna be a rowdy ass division this year. Tampa Bay, Saints, and the Falcons. Just the Cowboys out of the East, and then San Francisco and Seattle, and I was torn the most on that. It's hard to leave LA out of the playoffs in my mind, especially with three teams coming out of the South.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I think the AFC has the better teams. I think the AFC might have the two best teams in football. And I don't even know that that's big of a stretch.
Yeah.
But the NFC, and this seems like it's been like this for a while. In the AFC, it used to be the Pats, maybe another team, Steelers, Ravens, somebody like that. And then a big drop-off. Seems like it's that way again this year. Like the NFC has a lot of quality teams.
Yeah.
In the middle.